Dariel was a loser ugly demon with no skills. However, when he meets with the blessed baddie, he finds out he is actually a human with cheat powers and could easily clap everyone. Once upon a time, a knight of the Demon King's army named Dariel received the news that he had been expelled from the army by Lord Bashbarza because he was too boring and had the lowest rank in the entire army and did not deserve to be appointed as an assistant to the 4 generals. Everyone in the hall was making fun of him and calling him boring and foolish because he can't use any kind of magic. So he asked them to let him finish his last task before he leaves, but they refused and insisted on firing him now. Dariel had no choice but to comply with their order and left the army immediately, carrying his belongings with him with his head down and thinking that he was just a useless demon because he couldn't use magic. Then he met Rizé, who thought he was going on a new tour following the army, but he told him that this was his last day as a soldier in the Demon King's army, and he went on his way thinking about what he should do now that he is 32 years old and has done nothing but serve in the Demon King's army all his life. Then he realized that he didn't know where he was going and how long he had been wandering around, so he took a rest in the middle of the forest thinking that he might die before starting his new life as a normal person. Then he was surprised when a girl appeared out of nowhere running away from a giant gorilla-like monster. He decided to save her and confront the gorilla and asked her to run away and take advantage of her preoccupation with him, and thought that if he was using magic he could burn him in an instant without effort. But now, he is just a helpless old man in front of a gorilla that looks like a tack-on. Titan giants, Dariel tried to summon his energy and courage to face the gorilla, but he remembered that he was starving and could not get any energy while his stomach was empty, and the gorilla gave him a painful punch, and when he fell, he noticed a knife nearby and thought that it would be a disgrace for him as a soldier in the Demon King's army to use a human-made weapon. But he remembered that he was fired and no one cared about him anymore and decided to use the weapon to defend himself and the frightened girl behind him. When the gorilla jumped towards him, he was able to finish her off by sticking the knife right in the middle of her heart and was surprised that he managed to beat her in one blow. Then the girl named Malika thanked him for helping her and told him that he fought like the last hero who was hailed by everyone as the strongest in history, and noticed that the knife belonged to her when she took it and put it in her bag, and he thought that getting involved with humans would make things more difficult for him and decided to leave. But Malika grabbed the hem of his robe so hard that she almost strangled him and asked him to accompany her to the village so that she could thank him properly, and when she mentioned that she would like to thank him by serving him a delicious meal, he began to hear embarrassing sounds coming from his stomach to tell him to accept her offer, so she dragged him until they reached the island of Lux. After arriving at her house and meeting her family, he felt he was in trouble for being in a human village, as humans and demons have a history of enmity and war, and he thought they would get rid of him if they found out about him. Malika asked him why he was in the forest, and he told her without going into details that he was fired from his job after his employer's son took over, and since he was living in his workplace, he had to leave immediately. Malika took pity on him and told him that a nice guy like him didn't deserve to have this happen to him since he risked his life to save a stranger like her. Then he was surprised when she offered him to live in their house since they have many empty rooms, and her parents, Envel and Erica, agreed to the proposal. He felt that he would have to live among his enemies and pretend to be a human like them, and he kept thinking that he would be finished if someone discovered his identity, but he realized that his life was worth nothing at the moment after he became homeless and jobless, so he decided to accept their hospitality and live with them in one house, especially since the village needs someone like him who has the courage to face the monsters. In the evening, Dariel lay on his new bed, thinking that he had started his new life now, and that it was the first time he had a room to himself, as he used to live in a shared room inside the Demon King's castle. His thoughts were interrupted by Malika's voice outside, who came to thank him for everything he had done for her today, and told him that she had always been the one everyone relied on, and this was the first time someone had protected her. Then she felt ashamed and left immediately. The next day, Envel offered to work with him and told him that he was the head of the village adventurers guild and asked him to become an adventurer, and that his work would be limited to defeating monsters and gathering herbs. Envel thought that this is the most suitable job for someone like him who is physically fit, and enrolling in the adventurers guild is not difficult, and when he gave him the registration paper, he felt that he is in trouble because he is a demon and cannot perform human rituals to enroll himself in the guild. He decided to pretend to be sick and moaned while holding his back and told them that he had been hurt after his fight against the gorilla, and inside him thought that he should escape from the village in any way before he was discovered, but they realized that he was evading registration in the guild, so he was surprised by Malika pricking his finger with a needle, and then Envel put his wounded finger on the registration paper, and then Dariel was shocked shocked to find that registration in the guild was successful and they did not discover that he was a demon but realized that he was human-like them. Then he remembered that long ago one of the 4 generals, Granbarza, found him and took him to work as a soldier in the Demon King's army, and now he ended up living in a normal village among humans and discovered his true identity as a human like them. Envel then began to explain to him how to become an adventurer and how to do basic things like using weapons and controlling aura. When Dariel held the sword, he remembered when Granbarza taught him as a child the basics of fighting and that he wanted to be familiar with magic and that he did not feel anything then, but now he can feel his aura flowing from his body to his weapon. Envel tells him that there are 4 different types of auras and they have to figure out what kind of aura he has. When asked to cut wood with his sword, Dariel is nervous because the sword looks big for a novice like him. In time, they were all surprised that he had mastered all 4 types of auras and was so proficient with all weapons that Envel felt that his 30 years of experience as an adventurer was useless against his strength as a novice. Then he told Dariel that he possessed a very rare aura that he had never met anyone with. While Dariel marveled that he had so much power without any magical power in his body, and Envel thought it would be selfish of him to ask him to stay and work in a village like this when his power would qualify him to live in a better place. Then he recommended that he go to join the Central Guild, as it is a high organization that any adventurer dreams of joining and will be accepted once they see his abilities, and he felt amazed that he was authorized to join a place of high prestige because of his sudden strength. But when he saw the sadness in Malika's eyes, he decided to stay and tell her father that he helped him at the time he needed help the most, and decided to stay with them inside the village and started his new life with Malika and her family. A few days later, Envel was scolding an adventurer named Gashida for his carelessness and wasting time, and told him that Dariel was able to kill a gorilla in his first fight despite being a novice adventurer, and asked him to thank him. Gashida thanked him with a spiteful tone and a grumpy face, then took the next mission sheet, and when he found that it was just collecting herbs, he started to show off and told Envel that he would prove to him that he was better than Dariel's novice. Before Dariel went to start his mission, he was surprised that Envel approached him and promoted his rank to D because he was able to defeat a gorilla in his first fight. Then Malika joined them and decided to accompany him in his missions as he is still new to the village and will need someone to guide him. Dariel and Malika then headed towards the forest, and when he saw her climbing to the top of the hill, he realized that she was used to coming to the forest and told him that she wanted to become an adventurer or an assistant to the village. Then she said that an old lady had a cold and wanted to go get some herbs that would help her heal since Gashida wouldn't do it himself, so she had to go into the forest that day and was attacked by a gorilla. Dariel was worried about her and told her that she shouldn't put herself in danger for him, but she expressed her desire to repay him for saving her that day and kept holding his hand the whole way so that they wouldn't get separated in the middle of the jungle, and Malika was having a great time. When they arrived at their destination, they started collecting the required herbs, and Dariel noticed that she was used to doing adventurous things. As he was collecting herbs, she approached him and told him that he was not collecting the required herbs and started describing to him what the herbs looked like. Malika notices a deer's footprints near them and decides to hunt it after they finish collecting the herbs. He realizes that she is strong enough to be the daughter of the guild leader and the village chief. Then he wondered how she couldn't beat the gorilla herself. She told him that she is afraid of fighting and avoids any clash, so she considers him her savior. Then they found a deer near them eating grass, so Malika prepared to sneak towards it, but they were surprised by the transformation of his terrifying facial features. Then he jumped over them and ran away. Then they found that he had gone to fight a monster near them. Dariel felt that the animals in this forest are strange, so Malika decided to take advantage of the opportunity and hunt the deer and the monster together. And when they returned to the village, Malika told everyone that he had hunted them during his mission, and Gashida was furious that he received praise from everyone. And when he threw his mission paper away and left, Dariel realized that he had stolen his mission from him by killing the monster. As the days went by, Dariel got used to life in the village and began to live peacefully without any trouble. The only thing that confused him was Gashida treating him badly all the time, and one day he went to Envel after finishing his herb gathering mission. Envel told him that Gashida was out of control after he stole his quests from him twice. Dariel felt bad about himself since he didn't mean to do it, but Malika tried to encourage him and told him that he didn't do anything wrong because he had to hunt the monster when he had the chance. However, Envel told them that he was worried about accepting the next mission as it involves a monster that is much more dangerous than gorillas and jungle ants and requires a C-ranked adventurer to deal with it, while Gashita is a D-ranked adventurer. Malika was surprised that such a difficult request was sent to their guild and that the monster had to be dealt with by a guild from a larger city. He told her that they sent sent the request to be prepared for any danger and that the neighboring city was planning a joint collaboration between their adventurers and the village's adventurers. Dariel decides to go on the mission and take down the monster even though he's a D rank and decides to go alone without Malika, so she gives him some medicine made from the herbs they collected together so he can heal himself. After that, Dariel headed towards the forest, and on his way, he felt uneasy and soon found Gashida being chased by a cobra and decided to put his life on the line to save him from death. And when he stood in front of the cobra, he realized that it was on a completely different level than any monster he had ever encountered before. Although he prepares to fight the cobra, he is surprised that it is still targeting Gashida, who tries to run away as fast as he can. But he gathers his courage and tries to hit the cobra with his arrows, but to no avail, and he is soon surprised to see Dariel jump towards it and use his rare aura to tear its body and block its attack. Realizing that his sword was shattered after blocking the cobra's strike, he decided to use both his striking and throwing abilities, and grabbed a piece of the sword blade and threw it into the cobra's mouth, causing massive damage to its body until he emerged on the other side and successfully defeated it on his own. Gashida was stunned by his sudden strength and then began to feel pain in his leg. When Dariel examined him, he found that he had been bitten by the cobra and used the treatment Malika had given him to heal him, but Gashida was still afraid to die. Then he wondered about Dariel's comprehensive knowledge of herbs and medicines, and he told him that he studied herbs when he was assigned to collect them, and Malika helped him from time to time, and Gashida felt guilty for always treating him badly, while he did not hesitate for a moment to save him and help him. The next day, everyone was surprised by the change in Gashida's behavior towards him and told them that he owed him his life and considered him his elder brother. Dariel was surprised that he quickly gained popularity among everyone in the village after he was just a failed soldier who was expelled from the Demon King's army. On the other hand, the Demon King's army was suffering from one failed mission after another due to their inability to replace Dariel as an assistant to the 4 generals. So Deroy suggested that they try to bring Dariel back to work for them again, as he was doing his job perfectly and helping them in many specialties at the same time. Bosch Barza was furious at the idea of needing scum like him and ordered her not to mention his name in front of him again. A few days later, Gashita accompanies Dariel on his missions in the forest to gain experience and strength from him, and he becomes annoying with his exaggerated chatter. But Dariel prefers the current situation to being enemies for no reason, and over time he realizes that this village is hiding a mystery. In the evening, Dariel wondered why there were so many empty houses in the village, and Endel replied that this place was full of life before the discovery of the mithril mine, a mineral that possesses many mysterious properties and can be used to make magical tools and weapons, which caused a fight between demons and humans for possession of the mine for hundreds of years. The village used to be a rest stop in the middle of the mithril transportation route and flourished as an inn town, but after the demons took over the mine, the village declined until it became an almost deserted place that very few people know about its prosperous past. Dariel thought about what he had heard about the village's past and the mithril mine, his former workplace, and decided to visit the mine the next day. When he got there, he decided to negotiate for a little mithril to benefit the village, but he was surprised to find no guards near the entrance to the mine, and that he would have been burned if he had been lax in guarding the mine when he was working for the demon army, and managed to enter the mine easily without having to sneak in. When he entered the mine, he met Zaza and his fellow miners. They all welcomed him back, and when he asked what happened to the mine, Zaza told him that the Demon King's army ordered them to extract 4 times the amount of mithril that they were capable of extracting. Then they all felt sad that he was gone and told him that things were much better when he was in charge of the mine, and he was the only one who called them by name. Then he was surprised to hear footsteps approaching. Zaza told him it was the soldiers collecting the mithril. He decided to hide. The leader of the soldiers appeared and started scolding the creatures for not being able to collect more mithril and ordered them to collect more by tomorrow or face the consequences. As the commander turned to leave, one of the diggers jumped at him and hit him in the back of the head. The others started chanting against him. He was furious that they were rebelling against him and ordered his soldiers to finish them off. Dariel felt that the situation had gotten worse and that the diggers would not be able to fight the soldiers. He decided to defend them. He masked his face, took his sword, and stood in front of the soldiers and told them to stop hurting the diggers and withdraw immediately, or he would use force to force them to do so. Then he noticed a strange smell nearby and realized that he had taken the underwear of one of the diggers to hide his face. He decides not to think about it for now and uses his aura to prepare to face the soldiers of the Demon King's army. He asks their commander to send a soldier to confront him, and he tells him that he is committing a crime by by instigating the diggers and helping them steal the mine. Dariel accused him of being the criminal because he insulted and humiliated the diggers and used his power against them, so the commander ordered his followers to attack him at once, and Dariel sheathed his blade so as not to cause too much damage to the soldiers, as he thought to help them as much as possible. The soldiers used their magical abilities to attack him, but he took advantage of the time while they were casting the spell and rushed towards them to initiate the attack. The diggers were eager to support him and fight beside him, but one of the soldiers kicked one of them away. Dariel felt angry to kick him, but he noticed that the soldier did not use magic on them, so he realized that they still had some principles inside them and he could influence them by talking. So he addressed them and began to urge them to work with honor and not to harm civilians so as not to lose their honor. While he was speaking to them, the leader tried to attack him and ordered them not to listen to his nonsense and to continue to attack him, or he would burn them. And Dariel was surprised that they would cast all kinds of spells at once. Dariel had no choice but to use his speed to attack as many soldiers as he could before they finished casting their spells, and the commander was shocked that he was attacking the soldiers based on the duration of each spell, from the shortest to the longest. In time, Dariel was able to take out all the soldiers one by one. Then he approached the commander far enough and unsheathed his blade and put it around his neck, and then he was surprised by his claim that he was not part of the Demon King's army and could not fight, and he began to beg for his life after his arrogance. Then he told him about his first meeting with Lord Bashbarza, where he met him at a banquet and was able to get close to him and gain his trust, which made the Lord entrust him with the work of the mine, and Dariel marveled that he got his job through personal connections, though he fired him because he thought he was useless. Then he decided to pardon the life of that scum and scolded him for inciting his soldiers to treat the diggers harshly, instead of protecting them, and decided to punish him and cut off a large part of his hair to make an example, and asked him to resign as soon as he returned home, and the boy ran out of the mine to save his life. After the soldiers left behind their cowardly leader, Dariel breathed a sigh of relief that he didn't have to cause anyone's death, but some of the diggers were still worried that stronger soldiers would come next time and humiliate them. The next day, Dariel decided to go see Enbel and tell him that he had taken over the mithril mine and asked him to help protect the diggers. He was excited about the mine being back in human hands and decided to send a representative from the guild to the central guild to let them know about it. A few days later, the village returned to the days of prosperity again, and the people celebrated the return of the mine as if it were a national holiday, and the diggers became guides and helped people extract and transport mithril, which made Enbel feel proud of him for changing the fate of the village that was suffering from a slow death. A few days later, Bashbarza starts working on a magical weapon that uses mithril to create a huge bomb that can destroy the world, and tells Zebiontes that with this invention he will write his name as the greatest general in history. While he was immersed in his dreams and boundless ambitions, he was shocked when Zebiontes told him that the mine had been stolen and was now owned by humans, and the Demon King himself would question him about his failure to protect the mine. Bashbarza then knelt before the Demon King Mal, and as soon as he looked at him with one eye, he felt a strange force pierce his body, causing him to panic, and he began to scold him for ordering the diggers to extract 4 times the amount of mithril they needed to make his bomb. Then he was surprised when Mao ordered him to correct his mistake and apologize here and now, after he forced himself to apologize before he died, but he was irritated when Mao mentioned Dariel and suggested that he use him, as he was a smart and kind person and had caused his father to do well as one of the 4 generals, but he hated him because of his jealousy that he was closer to his father than him, and now he was popular with the Demon King. Meanwhile, Dariel and Malika are sitting together contemplating the village and its revitalization. As they talk, he's surprised that she's talking to him about children and her desire to be a mother and have a family. Before Malika could propose, they were interrupted by the sound of Gashita arguing with someone. So Dariel went over to him, and Gashita told him that a man was calling rural adventurers fake. The man then apologized and told them that he was leading a group of adventurers from Campbell City named Fit by Tan, and wondered about the fact that Lux Village only had 2 adventurers, so he told him that he was one of them. When Fitbiden saw that he was a D-rank adventurer, he asked him about the rumors of them taking back the mithril mine and how they managed to take it. Dariel said that they were just lucky, and Fitbiden believed that they were bad adventurers and told them that he and his followers would take over the mine, and told them to go back and do their silly tasks. Dariel was surprised when Dariel told him that he knew about the Campbell adventurers' failure to control and eliminate the Cobra before it escaped to Lux Village, and accused him of being the one who let it escape. The first to spot it was Gashida, who made fun of his level as an adventurer. Gashida told them that his older brother had defeated it, and that they should thank him for cleaning up their mess. As Dariel was about to leave, he realized that he had unnecessarily gotten himself into a fight with the adventurers of another city, while Fitbaitan was shocked that he was able to defeat a cobra-sized monster despite being a D rank. confirming the rumors circulating around the village, and people began to celebrate him in front of Fitbaitan's angry gaze. In the evening, Dariel and Gashita went to dinner at the inn and told Malika what happened to them. He found her pulling out her knife and intending to kill him for insulting Dariel. Dariel kept trying to calm her down in various ways until he was shocked when she said that she would not allow anyone, no matter who it was, to insult her husband. Malika realized that she got overly excited and left for the kitchen quickly, and the situation became chaotic after Gashita got drunk. The next day, Dariel went to meet Mr. Chokral, Bestfred, who came from the Central Guild to negotiate with the diggers, and told him that they are afraid of him for some reason and he can't communicate with them. Dariel told him that they had been tyrannized and humiliated by demons for a while, which makes it difficult for them to trust any strangers. Bestfred wondered why he was the only person they trusted, and he told him that he had saved them from being ruled by demons, and then he offered to act as a mediator between him and them. Dariel had no choice but to help him make the negotiations with the diggers go well. He went with him to meet them, and Bestfred was shocked that he could get them to listen to what he had to say in less than a minute. On his way out of the house, Dariel met Fitbaitan and his followers. Fitbaitan was confused at the sight of him, but was interrupted by Dariel hearing a familiar voice speaking to the diggers, telling them to return to the mine and that the Demon King had forgiven them. Dariel rushed towards the source of the voice and found a group of army soldiers led by Rize. When Rize saw someone jumping towards him, he attacked him without hesitation, but stopped when he realized it was his friend, and Dariel was surprised when he approached him and hugged him and told him that everything has been in chaos since he left. Rize was eager to know what had happened to him since the last time he saw him when he was kicked out of the army. He told him that he had discovered his true identity and that he was human and not a demon, and asked him to keep it a secret between them. Rizet told him that since his departure, things have become very difficult compared to when he was there, as he contributed to the smooth execution of missions and supported everyone who worked with him, but now the chain of command within the army is on the verge of collapse. Then he added that the loser Bashbarza had taken his anger out on everyone in front of him after being reprimanded by the Demon King personally, and that he had come here to meet and reconcile with the diggers by order of the Demon King. So Dariel felt that he was taking it seriously. When Rizet asked him if he could return to the army again, he replied that he was asking the impossible after discovering that he was human, and Dariel was surprised when he told him that among the officers who fired him that day, one of them, Dorier, wants him back, as he considers him his friend, even if he is of a different race. Dariel told him that he had friends and a place to rely on, and he wanted to stay with them because they helped him when he was lost and did not know his fate after he was fired from his job and became homeless. Rizet decides to use force and bring him back to the army against his will, but he is surprised by Dariel's strength and his ability to cut water with his sword, and tells him that he cannot work for the demons again. Then he has an idea to intercede for him so that he can buy mithril. When they went to meet Bestfred, he was shocked at the idea that he would want to sell mithril to the demons so easily. Dariel tried to convince him that the lack of mithril would be a big problem for them, which would make them want to take back the mine completely. But if there was a trade outlet between humans and demons, the humans could keep possession of the mithril mine without having to go to war. Bestfred thought it over before making his decision, while Fitbaitan voiced his disapproval. They were surprised when he approached Rize with the intention of attacking him, but Dariel intercepted him and told him that he would not allow any more blood to be spilled over a trivial mineral. Fitbaitan was furious and told Bestfred that these negotiations were meaningless and a waste of time, but he was shocked by his response, calling him rude for interfering in matters that did not concern him, and telling him that he had asked him to provide security and guard during the negotiations, not to give an opinion. Then he decided to agree to make a deal with Rizet as the representative of the demons, and they began to agree on the terms and price. And the next day, Rizet felt grateful to Dariel, as he was able to apologize to the diggers and make a deal with humans to obtain mithril without wars thanks to him. Dariel told him that he is the one who feels grateful because without his presence, he would not have been able to make such a deal, as he considers both humans and demons to be precious to him, and he is still grateful for Lord Granbarz's adoption in his youth and wishes to become friends with both races. The next day, Bestfred asks Dariel to open a mithril workshop and gives him a small piece of paper with the address of an old workshop and tells him to find it and revive it. When he goes to the address in Campbell City, he finds Fitbaitan inside the workshop. When Fitbaitan saw him standing outside, he pretended to be friendly and told him that he would take over the workshop and find good blacksmiths to work in it, and asked him to return with his colleagues and prepare dinner for him, saying sarcastically that a D-rank adventurer could not interfere in the affairs of a B-rank adventurer like him. After that, he went to Envil to tell him what happened, and he told him that the city of Campbell is on the brink after losing its right to defend the mine, so they want to get a workshop to compensate for their losses. Dariel realized that he had caused the guards to lose their jobs after he took over the mine, and while he was thinking, Malika interrupted him by rushing to him for help and told him that an old man had molested her. When he went to him, he found him lying on the ground. He thought he had died when he touched Malika's chest, but he realized that what was splattered around him was just tomatoes and not his blood, and when the old man regained consciousness, he scolded her for making a fuss just because he touched her chest. Dariel told him that he was out of line. The old man called him a weak adventurer and started making fun of his clothes and his sword. Malika was furious and wanted to kick his ass. Then she told him that with this sword, he was able to defeat a group of the Demon King's army, and he also defeated a giant cobra. The old man was shocked by what he heard and decided to check for himself. So he touched Dariel's hand to check his aura and did not believe himself when he found that he had the ultimate power in all types. When Dariel asked him about his identity, he told him that his name is Smith, nicknamed the Mithril Master, and that he came to work in the blacksmith shop and contribute to the creation of many tools using mithril. Smith decided to negotiate with them himself and went with him to meet Fit by Tan. He begged Fit by Tan to let him work in the forge and rushed towards him like a raging bull. Fit by Tan had to give him part of the forge to work in, and that's when Dariel realized that he was just a scumbag after mithril. When they entered the workshop, Smith was delighted to see an abundance of mithril and began working immediately. Dariel found that he was an expert at melting mithril and making tools out of it, and Smith began to explain to him how he worked, and that he could tell what kind of tool could be made out of mithril by the pressure point. After a while, Smith made a large sharp sword, and Dariel was surprised to find that it felt very light for its size, and when he directed his aura towards it, he found that it enhanced the strength of the sword beyond expectations and that it was much better to use than his usual sword. Fit by Tan then approached them and apologized for his rudeness in dealing with Smith beforehand, and asked him to teach them to make tools from mithril. But Smith laughed at him and told him that they were all amateurs and not worthy of the talent to learn, and went on his way, ignoring his pleas. When they returned to the workshop, Smith took the sword from Dariel and was surprised that he thought he had given it to him. Smith told him that it was not the right choice for him at the moment, and that he had always dreamed of making something out of mithril other than weapons, and was surprised that he had stolen some mithril while the workers were busy. Dariel was amazed when he saw the special workshop that Smith had set up, and told him that his students had done the work while he was with him. And when he entered, he found that he had an ethanol furnace, a piece of magical equipment that only works with magic, and Smith asked him to help him operate the furnace to get closer to realizing his dream, and Dariel decided to enlist the help of his friend Rizet to get a communication device. Rizet told them that he only did it this time for his friend, but he can't help humans to produce huge weapons continuously. Smith told him that he doesn't intend to make huge weapons, but he intends to make a special weapon that no one has ever seen before for Dariel to repay him for returning the mine to humans again and helping him return to the work he loves, and it will be the most powerful weapon ever, and no one will be able to use it except him. Rizet then used his power to turn on the furnace, and Smith asked Dariel to get him some alcohol. He went out wondering if things were going to go well, and met Fit by Tan, who asked him to speak privately. Dariel was surprised when Fit by Tan asked him if he liked this village, and told him that the reason he was asking was because he felt that everyone here was being cheated, as the mine he recovered should only be profitable for the village of Lux, but the Central Syndicate was trying to get the largest share despite that. He then asked him to join forces because the village alone is too weak to stand up to the Central Syndicate in exchange for Campbell City getting a share of the mithril in a deal between the two regions, but Dariel rejected his offer because he is an arrogant adventurer who has already offended people important to him. Fit by Tan took off his glove and threw it at him, then asked him to pick it up. After he took the glove back, he told him that he would wait for him tomorrow in the village square and left quietly. Dariel did not understand what he meant at first, but when he returned to the village, Ebnel told him that he had challenged him to a fight tomorrow. Ebnel then felt that Dariel was in a dilemma, as he had no chance of defeating a B-rank adventurer, and if he died at the end of the fight, it could not be considered a crime against Fit by Tan. So Rizet suggested that he withdraw and forget about facing him, but Ebnel told him that in that case, the city of Campbell would be in charge of the mine. Dariel, despite his nervousness, decided to accept the fight to save the mine. Smith joined them and told him that he would teach him how to use the mithril weapon. In the evening, Dariel practiced in the woods alone until Malika came and brought him some tea. She asked him if he was sure about his decision to fight tomorrow. He told her that he was happy to find that they were all worried about him and thinking of a solution for him, which is why he accepted the challenge. She promised to make him his favorite food for tomorrow's dinner as a reward for winning the fight. The next day, Dariel stood in front of Fit by Tan, ready to fight. Fit by Tan admired admired his courage in accepting the challenge and told him that he had made mithril weapons specifically for the fight. When he asked to see what he had in store, he was surprised that he had only made a knife. Dariel then began to motivate himself to seek victory for the diggers and for the future of the village. When the fight began, Fitbiten spoke sarcastically that he would wait for him to get the right weapon for the fight, but he was surprised by a quick attack that he could not see with his own eyes. He felt angry and rushed towards him to attack him, but he was surprised by the ability of the knife blade to expand and can attack in all kinds of ways thanks to that ability. Then Dariel turned the knife into a sword and was able to cut his armor in half easily and without warning. Fitbiten found himself defenseless after he destroyed his sword and turned its blade into crumbs and only the hilt remained. Dariel thought he had won the fight after Fitbiten was defenseless, but to his surprise, he brought a large mithril sword and vowed to cause his death because he had stolen his mission and was doing things he had no right to do. Dariel decided to turn his weapon into a whip and told him that all he wanted was to help his friends. When Fitbiten lunged at him, he tore his sword apart with several consecutive blows, using much of his aura, and managed to kick the arrogant B-ranker's ass in front of everyone and win the fight. After Dariel felt weak and unable to stand, Malika supported him and felt proud of him. Best Fred then went with Fitbiten and his followers to apologize to Dariel and told him that he didn't know that his decision would cause so much trouble for him and that he would punish Fitbiten and the entire Campbell City Guild. Dariel asks to be allowed to determine the punishment of Fitbiten and his followers himself and tells Best Fred that he wants them to repair the houses damaged in their fight. Best Fred agrees to his request and tells him that he doesn't want to lose his trust after all, as he has helped him a lot since he came to the village and believes that the reason he came in the first place was to find someone like him. Dariel was surprised by Best Fred's offer to work for the Central Syndicate, and he sat down to think about this offer, as it is a tempting offer for anyone, and there are many things he still does not know, and he wondered if he will be able to learn more when he works for the Central Syndicate, and he also wants to search for his parents and find out where they are. Dariel is surprised when Malika enters the sauna while he's thinking about the show and wants to talk to him about Best Fred's offer. Before he realizes it's her, he touches her, thinking it's Kashida who entered the sauna and ends up accidentally touching her breast. Dariel felt that he was in trouble and might be finished and thought about getting down on his knees and apologizing to her before he died, but his body stiffened, unable to move. Malika broke the silence and told him that she wanted to spend some time talking with him since he was going to work at the Central Syndicate. She then told him that she expected something like this to happen because he is a great person and deserves it, as everything in the village has changed for the better since he came and was able to put smiles on everyone's faces after recovering the mithril mine, and told him to do his best in his new job and that she will forever cheer him on wherever he is. Dariel realized that she was trying to hide her own feelings and act against them in order not to feel guilty about his decision. So he told her that he has no intention of going to work for the syndicate and staying with her in the village because he loves living here because of her after she brought him with her when he was homeless. Malika felt happy and grateful that she still had plenty of time in her life to spend with him, so he wiped her tears, then approached her and kissed her and felt that he had found another reason to stay in Lux village. Bashbarza went to meet his father and was surprised to see him using his powers and creating a huge fireball in front of him. Grandbarza told him that he was rehabilitating himself to heal the wound the hero inflicted on him during their last confrontation. Bashbarza asks Grandbarza if he's doing well working with the four generals. When he asks him about Dariel, Bashbarza is confused because he doesn't know that he fired him, but he pretends otherwise and tells him that working with Dariel is going well. Grandbarza told him that the decision to retire him had caused a lot of commotion because he was the most powerful of the four generals, and the others were hesitant to let him retire, but Dariel handled it perfectly and controlled the objections that followed his decision to retire. Then he added that the greatest stroke of luck he'd ever had in his life was meeting Dariel, and to pass such good fortune on to him after taking his position after him was a celebration. When he asked again about Dariel, Grandbarza was even more confused, but he pulled himself together and told him he was doing well as an aide to the four generals. Grandbarza didn't believe any of it. He was sure he was lying. Bashbarza surprised him by throwing the table at him and then punching him through the wall. He then told him that he had received several reports of demons being fired as assistant generals, and they all begged him to intervene and resolve the matter with them. He scolded him for making a stupid decision to give up a treasure like Dariel, and ordered him to bring him to the palace immediately and beg him to forgive him, as it was the only way he had left to continue holding his position. Bashbarza was furious and refused his order, telling him that he did not want to continue as one of the four generals if he would end up relying on scum like Dariel, and that he intended to achieve success through his own ability and prove to everyone that he deserved to be his father's successor. Grandbarza wondered to himself why his son refused to work with Dariel and kept thinking about his current situation and how to move on with his life. The next day, Erica went to wake Malika, wondering that she was still sleeping all this time, and when she entered the room, she found her sleeping with Dariel in one bed and felt happy for her. Then Dariel and Malika woke up feeling so tired and lazy that Dariel stumbled down the stairs and remained silent the whole time during their breakfast, and they were embarrassed that Envel would discover that they had made love last night. Dariel was distracted the whole time until Envel offered to help him pick herbs for the day. Then Erica asked him to help her with the laundry, and he was surprised that she knew about what happened between him and Malika last night and asked him to continue living well with her. He feels he is in a dilemma and has to think of a way to tell them. He thinks about asking her to marry him, but he is still hesitant about it and is afraid of Envel's reaction to it. He soon panics when he sees him behind him, especially after seeing him carrying an axe behind his back, and asks him to talk privately. They head to the office and Envel tells him that he and Erica are getting older and now it's his and Malika's time. He realizes that he knew about yesterday somehow and decides to confess everything to him before he finishes his speech, but finds Envel asking him to take over as the village's mayor instead. Envel told him that he was the most suitable person to take the position after the achievements he had made since he came to the village and contributed to its revitalization. Dariel hesitated about accepting the position and felt that it was a big responsibility for someone like him. Envel told him that he felt the same way at first, but this is how people mature, by taking on heavy responsibilities and eventually reap the fruits of their efforts. And although he felt sad that it was time for him to leave his job, he was happy that someone like him would be in charge from now on. When Malika joins them, he decides to ask Envel to marry her and tells him that he will dedicate his life to making her happy. She is overjoyed when Envel agrees to his request and rushes towards him to hug him like an American football player when he asks her if she agrees to marry him. He used the power of his aura to stop the momentum, and they flew through the air together, whereupon he caught her in his arms and they decided to live a happy life together from now on. A year after he became mayor and married Malika, Luck's village flourished under his leadership. After Smith's death, Dariel went to visit his grave and thanked him for everything he had learned from him and for trusting him since their first meeting. Then he returned home and found Malika and their child Gran welcoming him, and Dariel deliberately named him Gran after Gran Barza, whom he considered like his father. While they were all spending time together in the house, Gashita rushed in and told him that the hero was about to come to the village. Dariel remembered when he was in the Demon King's army and saw him up close and personal, and his ability to spill the blood of anyone who got in his way, and that heroes to demons are just thugs, and he wondered why he was coming to the village. Dariel thought that he had come to get rid of him as a former member of the Demon King's army, but his thoughts were interrupted by Envel's voice asking him to finish the necessary preparations for the hero's reception and hospitality in the village. As the hero stepped out of the carriage, he wondered what he would have to do if he had to fight to the death against him, but he soon realized that it was not the hero he had expected, but a young heroine. The heroine tells him that she is called Lady, and when she notices his surprise about her identity, she tells him that the former hero was injured in a previous battle with demons and retired, so he is relieved that no one will recognize his face and removes the scarf he is wearing. Lady then complained that he is the type of person who judges people based on their gender or age, and told him that men have no advantage over women, and Dariel felt intimidated by her strong personality. After that, she and her followers wandered around the village, and when Satome mentioned the weapon that the village has that can defeat demons, Dariel realized that the reason for their visit to the village is because they want to get mithril weapons, and then he noticed that Lady made some notes on her hands to help her deal with him. After that, Dariel hosted them in his house, and his son was crying a lot, but he was silent and kept staring at Lady curiously as soon as she entered, and when she noticed that he had a son, she asked him to let her hold him for a while, and he realized that she loves children, and Dariel did not believe that the day would come when he would see his son in the arms of the heroine and wondered what he would be like in the future. The next day, everyone woke up to have breakfast together, and when Dariel noticed that Lady was still sleeping, he went to knock on her door and found her standing in front of him half asleep, holding her sword and almost hitting him with it while asking them to let her sleep until noon. But when she realized she wasn't at home with the village mayor standing in front of her, she shut the door in their faces, tidied herself up, and came back to them, speaking formally. While they ate breakfast together, she asked him to take her on a tour to see the Mithralian weapons of the day. Lady and her followers are fascinated by what they see around them as the workers process mithril into all sorts of tools. He then introduced Sakai, the most famous and skilled blacksmith in the entire village, and told them that he could distinguish different types of auras by holding a person's hands, and Lady was surprised that he could actually tell what type of aura she had by her hand. Gashita rushed in and asked her to let him join her team, but it wasn't long before Envel decided to organize a tournament tournament among the village adventurers to determine the fourth member of the heroine's team. Lady and her companions found everyone excited around them and told Dariel that it's not a joke, as she wants to recruit a fourth member of the team to be able to defeat the Demon King and gain the right to request any kind of aid from the Central Guild. Envil then announced that the tournament will be 26 adventurers who will fight against the heroine's team of 3 people at once, and whoever can defeat them will become the fourth member. And to everyone's surprise, the heroine and her companions will face them using very primitive weapons against the swords and armor that each of them carries. Lady and her companions managed to crush the 26 adventurers effortlessly and were frustrated by the lack of a suitable person among them, but she was surprised by a sudden arrow that almost hit her by Gashida and was impressed by his accuracy and strength in the use of the bow and arrow. Gashida kept firing arrows at her, forcing her to use her aura at full strength. And just when she was about to take it seriously and use one of her deadly skills against him, Dariel saved the day by throwing an apple at her to distract her. Satome was surprised that she suddenly stopped attacking Gashida and told her that it was just a reaction to his sudden aura, while Gashida approached Dariel, frustrated at his failure to beat them. Lady then approached him and asked him for a one-on-one fight, but he told her that he had retired as an adventurer since he became the village mayor. She said that she sensed a great strength in him, even greater than Gashida, and attacked him without giving him a chance to retreat. She was amazed by the ability of his weapon to change into different shapes, and when the clash between them intensified, she decided to use her real weapon. And as soon as he saw her technique, Dariel remembered that it was the technique of the former hero, but he decided to counterattack and nullify her technique. Lady was impressed by his super strength and decided to add him to her team and become the fourth member. After she and the other members begged him, he apologized and told them that he had a lot of work to do as the mayor of the village and left quietly. In the evening, Dariel returned home and tried to help Malika breastfeed Gran. He found Lady reiterating her offer to join their team, but he told her that he wanted to see his son grow up before his eyes and that he was very attached to his family. Lady felt that there was another reason why he couldn't leave the village and join them. He said that all the reasons he couldn't consider leaving were that there were too many people depending on him and that he felt good about his current situation. She was furious that he didn't care about defeating the Demon King and told him that she wouldn't stop trying to recruit him. As she left, he had some memories of General Doroye and remembered talking to her one day, and that she sat with him in an open cafe to look at the faces of the people living in the city, and said that she didn't want to forget what she was fighting for and wanted to protect people's smiles from being erased by any enemies. When he returned to reality, he decided not to participate in anything that would lead him to fight against demons no matter what. The next day, he went to take a tour of the village and check on the people, while Lady and Satome were watching him while hiding inside wooden boxes, and vowed to convince him to join her in defeating the Demon King. Afterward, Dariel went to the blacksmith shop and was told that Sakai was in a bad mood, so he went to offer him some support as he was suffering from severe depression and stress because he felt responsible for the fact that the adventurers' lives depended on him all the time. Over time, Lady noticed his humble and friendly demeanor towards everyone despite his social status, and in the evening he returned home with his wife and son after finishing his work. After that, Lady sat with Satome in her room, and Satome told her that she realized that priorities differ from person to person, and that Dariel's greatest priority is to take care of his village and family, and that he considers this work as important as a hero's duty to the world. But she refused to be convinced and went to his house and asked to speak to him privately. She was curious to know where he learned the technique he used against her to stop her technique, since she knew only one person who could attack with a skill stronger than wind, and that was the former hero Alansil. Dariel realized how powerful his technique was, and that it was the reason for the former hero's strength and crushing everyone who stood in his way with ease. And Lady was surprised to find that he used the technique without knowing what it was, and she aimed her sword at him after she felt her curiosity growing towards him and tried to convince him that strong people like him should be on the front line to defend humanity. He told her that there will be no fighting if the hero doesn't attack, as demons only fight to defend themselves. She then told him that demons are the reason why the former hero Alansil turned into a ruthless monster. Then she told him about Alansil's past as a hero, where he had a wonderful wife and only son and a happy life until he lost everything one day and had to cause the death of one of the 4 generals who killed his wife and son. Before he retired, he asked her to promise to fight and dedicate her life to humanity and to eradicating the demon offspring, which is why she wanted him to lend her his power. He told her that he had encountered demon soldiers in the mine and that they were reluctant to attack innocent people, and in order to regain the diggers' trust again, they sent a whole legion to negotiate with them. He then expressed his desire not to have to fight against anyone, that everyone fights to protect those close to them, and that no one is evil, and Lady realized that he lives for a noble cause, and that what she really needs is a heart like his. He felt that training her would be like indirectly fighting the Demon King's army, but he agreed because he saw it as an opportunity to force her to stay by his side for a long time to observe her and help stop the war between the two sides for as long as possible. The next day, Doroye was frustrated that she couldn't find Daryl anywhere, while Zebiantes was able to find him after following Rize's route and discovering that he is in charge of the mithril mine and smithy in the village. When Rize sat down to spend some time with Daryl and Gran, Daryl noticed that he was wearing a new medallion in his clothes and told him that he had become the special envoy to the army thanks to reaching a satisfactory solution in the mithril case. And Daryl wondered about it, as this position did not exist before. While they were talking, Zebiantes broke into the house and scolded Rize as if he indirectly meant that the 4 generals were not doing their job properly. Then she used his back as a chair to sit on and told him that he would be severely punished for knowing Daryl's whereabouts all this time, and he remained silent while Doroye looked for him everywhere. As Zebiantes spoke, she mentioned that it had been a long time since their last meeting, that he was weak and average looking, and when Malika heard her abuse of her husband, she pointed the lid of the wine bottle at her while Daryl tried to calm her down. Terrified by her behavior and aggressive personality, Zebiantes straightened up and went to sit in a regular chair. When Daryl asked her why she came to the village, she denied that she came to find him and said that her presence in this area was purely coincidental and that she came to look for mithril. Rize apologized to Daryl for causing him trouble by being followed by Zebiantes and told him that it was not his fault, as Zebiantes is a great wind witch who has the ability to hide her presence by changing the density of the air. Zebiantes then ordered him as a great wind witch to give her all his mithril. He told her that he could not give her all the village's mithril stock, as there is an official agreement between humans and demons. And while Zebiantes was speaking with excessive arrogance, she noticed Malika's deadly gaze towards her, which made her uncomfortable inside Daryl's house, and she almost peed in her clothes, so he suggested that they continue their conversation outside to get some air. Daryl is surprised when she tries to surprise him with an attack with her magic, but he dodges it in time. She tells him that she will use force to force him to obey her orders, but unfortunately his wife is not around to defend him. Daryl found himself forced to fight against her and asked Rize not to interfere between them so as not to lose his position. While he thought he should take the fight seriously, he discovered that she may be the easiest opponent he has ever faced, as he can get close enough to her despite being a wind witch, in addition to having a childish mind and refusing to admit defeat. Daryl decides to use the Alonsil technique to counteract her storm and force her to cancel her spell, at which point Zebiantes loses control and starts to fall, so he rushes towards her to save her, and Rize clears the ground with his water magic to land safely. After they got up, Daryl was surprised by her panties in his hand when he was trying to catch her before she touched the ground. She threatened him that she would tell his brutal wife what happened, and when he felt that his life was at stake, he decided to give her some mithril at the agreed price, and when they reached an agreement, he asked her to keep him and the village a secret between them. Then she asked him to give her a mithril weapon like his, so he thought to take her to the blacksmith's workshop to introduce her to Sakai and ask him to make a special weapon for her. Then Daryl realized that there is little time left until the heroes return from their training and will be in a bad situation if they get into a confrontation with one of the 4 generals, so he asked Sakai to delay the Zebiantes inside the workshop as much as possible and rushed out. When Lady and her companions returned from training, they noticed that he was acting strangely towards them and started assigning them several tasks to distract them from noticing Zebiantes inside the village, and everything was under control until Sakai appeared in front of him and told him that he had done everything he could, but Zebiantes had left the workshop minutes ago. In the meantime, Lady entered the sauna to relax after finishing the 100,000 times sword training assigned to her by Daryl, and there she met the Zebiantes, and Daryl kept listening to them from behind the door in anticipation of what might happen, and when he felt danger approaching, he rushed in and stood between them to prevent any fight, but he put his hands in the wrong places and the 2 girls slapped him and kicked him out of the sauna. In the evening, Daryl returned home and Malika noticed the marks on his face and decided to postpone questioning him until after dinner, while Lady and Zebiantes decided to question him now to find out the nature of his relationship with each of them. He decided to confess everything to Lady and told her that he was a human who grew up among demons. After he told her his entire story, she understood his position, while Zebiantes was surprised that he was originally human and not a demon. Lady doesn't accept Zebiantes' Zebionte's unexplained presence in the village and asks her to leave if she cares about her life. When they are about to start a fight at the table, Malika approaches them and suggests that they have a fight instead of fighting inside the house. Daryl decides to act as referee for the fight to make sure no one dies. He tells them that the fight will take place in the jungle tomorrow, and none of them can sleep at night because they are too busy thinking about the fight. The next day, Daryl was surprised to find them early in the forest square, and Sakai was with them, sleeping and flying through the air thanks to Zebionte's magic, as Lady had forced him to work all night to make Mithril's sword for her. After that, they began to clash and continued to exchange attacks, and it was a stalemate until Zebiontes decided to use the symphonic laser technique, a violent tornado wave, and Lady retaliated with the windbreaker technique. During the fight, Satoma had formed a protective barrier around Daryl and the others to protect them from the attacks, and then Gran woke up, and as soon as he saw the two girls fighting, the excitement inside him ignited, which made him jump out of Malika's arms towards them, and then they were surprised by a part of the hill being destroyed and falling towards him. Daryl jumped towards him to save him. Then the two girls rushed towards them, and Lady was surprised that Zebiontes used her ability to protect Daryl and his son. After they made sure everyone was okay, Daryl realized that he wanted to play and thought that Lady and Zebiontes were playing, which made the atmosphere of fun prevail among everyone, and the two girls decided to stop fighting and consider the fight a draw, and they quickly became friends easily. And Malika realized that this is what Daryl wants, that all humans and demons will become friends over time and stop fighting wars against each other. A few days later, Sesha goes to Daryl's house and tells him that he met the former hero Alansil on his way. Daryl is surprised to see him, as he looks old and broken from the last time he saw him and doesn't want to cause trouble with Zebiontes in his house. When Zebiontes noticed his presence, she did not recognize him and spoke to him arrogantly after noticing his exposed chest and wounds, whispering to her that she was talking to the strongest hero in history, and was amazed when he told her that he had survived Granbarz's deadly skill and warned her not to say unnecessary words or she would die. Then a child approached upon seeing Alansil, and while Daryl intended to prevent her from approaching and talking to him, he was surprised that Alansil treated her kindly and welcomed her. Then the children began to flock to him, welcoming his return. Then he found the villagers lined up in front of his house to meet Alansil, as if it were a signing ceremony for a famous artist. After Daryl greeted him, he claimed that Zebiontes was an acquaintance and shook her hand, and after he went to sit somewhere else, he whispered to her to try to take any opportunity to escape, as Alansil can sense one's magical energy. He then asked Alansil why he came to the village and told him that he came after he learned that Lady was staying in this village recently, and apologized to her for his hasty decision to expel her, and decided to tell her everything after his wounds had healed. Lady was excited at the thought of training under him again, and Daryl was relieved that Zebiontes could use the opportunity to escape. When he decided to take them to the training ground, Alansil told him that he sensed a suspicious person right away. Daryl was confused and thought that he might have remembered his face or that he had spotted Zebiontes, but it turned out that he meant Gashita, who was watching them through the window, so he was relieved and told him that this was the strongest adventurer in the village. After that, the villagers gathered to watch the training fight between Alansil and Lady, and she quickly attacked him while he was signing papers for the children, and he continued to dodge her until she was surprised when he grabbed her sword blade and knocked her down with it. Then he told her that her sword skills had improved significantly, and when she told him that Daryl had been training her since she came to the village, he realized that he was a powerful person who was trying to hide it and pretend to be a normal person, and challenged him to a duel in front of everyone. Daryl tried to avoid it and told him that he had long since retired from adventuring, but when people began to underestimate and doubt his ability to beat the former champion, Gashita found that he had no choice but to accept the challenge and fight the old man. When Daryl went to the arena and stood in front of him, he felt his fearsome aura towards him and that he was taking it as seriously as if he would face the Demon King himself. So he tried to postpone his death for a while and told him that he was starving and would not be able to fight on an empty stomach. While they were having lunch together in the garden, Daryl noticed that Alansil was happy to eat a meal that someone had prepared for him and marveled at his friendly personality compared to what Lady had told him about him. On the other hand, Zebiontes was watching him from afar and then decided to fulfill Daryl's request and go back the way she had come. On her way, she noticed that a piece of cloth was about to be blown away by the wind, so she used her magic to quickly pick it up. Alansil sensed a magical energy nearby and was able to locate its source. Then he threw his wand at it and it ended up stuck and unable to move. Alansil then approached her and drew his knife to dispose of her, but Daryl intercepted him just in time. Alansil asked him to postpone their duel until later and give him time to finish the demoness first, and Zebiontes was terrified by his aura and gaze. Daryl refuses to let him take any more lives in his village and decides to face him himself. remembering that when he and Granbarza had faced off in the past, he had merely watched as the Lord tried to protect his followers and keep them safe. Dariel tried to resolve the matter amicably, but to no avail, so he attacked Alonsil, but Alonsil moved past him and easily blocked his attacks. After they began to clash, he pulled Zeviantes towards him to keep her away from Alonsil, and when he used a stone slab for defense, he was surprised that he could destroy it with just a stick. Alonsil was impressed that Dariel had all kinds of auras like him, and that he had finally found his calling in fighting a powerful opponent. He offered to become a hero and dedicate his life to eradicating the demon lineage. When Dariel refused, he decided to use force to convince him. After using his famous technique, he was surprised that Dariel was able to use it too, and managed to survive its deadly effect with only a few bruises. Alonsil realized his unwillingness to fight based on his defensive style, so he approached him, wondering why he was protecting one of the demons, and he told him that he did not want anyone to get hurt, regardless of their race, and that he aims to create peace between the two races, and he mentioned his suffering from losing his family because of the war with the demons, and told him that he has a wife and child and does not want to lose them, nor does he want to lose anyone dear to him. Alonsil was curious to ask him about the source of his close relationship with the demons, and Dariel told him that he grew up among them. Meanwhile, Granbarza was in the Demon King's room, begging him to dismiss his son from his position because of the series of failures he caused, and that he deliberately disappeared for more than a year and abandoned his duty. The Demon King realized that he was angry about his son's dismissal of Dariel and wanted to remove him from his position on the grounds that he was harming the interests of the Demon King's army. Granbarza remembered his first encounter with him, when he was just a baby found after a bloody battle with humans in a tree. Granbarza tried to find his parents soon, but there was no one else around, and he had no choice but to take him with him, and vowed to protect him as one of the 4 generals who had chosen the name Dariel for him. When his mind came back to reality, he told the Demon King that he considered him as his second son, so the king decided to tell him Dariel's current location, where he lives in the village of Lux, and told him that he is well settled there and does not guarantee his success in bringing him back to the side of the demons. Granbarza was surprised when the king told him that he has the 4 types of auras inside his body, which is the same power as the former hero Alonsil, and he remembered the words of one of his companions before he died, that he left behind something that could be a secret weapon against the hero, and he realized that he meant Dariel. In the meantime, Alonsil realized that Dariel is his son after he heard his story from him, and that he was raised among demons after the water general found him before his death, and then entrusted him to Granbarza to take care of him, and approached him and hugged him, and Dariel wondered why he thought he was his son. He told him that 33 years ago, his wife died at the hands of the water general, and all this time he thought that he got rid of his son as well. But after hearing his story, he realized that he was his lost son, especially since he inherited his special power of possessing the 4 types of auras with their maximum power, and Dariel could not realize that his real father was the former hero. And then Alonsil noticed someone near them, and when he attacked him, it turned out to be Granbarza, who headed towards them and expressed his admiration for Dariel's acquisition of power. Alonsil doesn't give Granbarza a chance to speak and prepares to fight him, but Dariel stops between them and asks him to at least listen to what the Lord has to say. Granbarza tells them that he has only recently learned the truth about Dariel and remembers worrying about him when he was 5 years old and couldn't use magic. Although he suspected at first that he might be human, his love and attachment to him prevented him from letting him go. Dariel realized that he had been suffering all the time because of him, and felt grateful to him for raising him and appointing him as his assistant, and never felt bad about losing his real parents. Granbarza told him that he was the one who received a lot for raising him, as he would not have been stronger if he had not spent all this time with him because of his desire to be respected as a son. Then he approached him and hugged him and told him that he was his only treasure and source of pride, and Alonsil realized that their relationship was much deeper than he thought, and he backed away from the idea of fighting. Then he felt angry that it was his turn to spend time with his son, who was now young and strong, and accused him of stealing all these moments from him. And because of his hatred for demons, he became known as the strongest hero in human history, and felt frustrated that the time he was supposed to spend with Dariel would never return. Granbarza understood his feelings and asked him to pass on the anger and hatred he felt towards him, and decided to take responsibility for the mistakes his partner made before his death, and told Dariel that the reason he came in the first place was to try to get him back into the Demon King's army. Alonsil decides to settle the matter between him and Granbarza right here and now, and the two of them stand in front of each other ready to fight in front of Dariel, who is confused and thinking of a way to stop them, while at the same time thinking that they are right to use this method to resolve their differences. Before any of them could hurt each other, Malika jumped in and splashed water on them to make them stop fighting. She told them it was rude to fight out of hatred, and told them not to do it in front of their grandson. They were amazed when she mentioned the grandson, and realized that Dariel has a baby son, which means they are his grandparents. Dariel offered them to stay in the village and not to leave. When Alonsil saw the little gran, he remembered that he looked exactly like Dariel Dariel when he was his age and held him in his arms. Dariel thanked his wife for saving the situation and convincing them to stop fighting and hatred. In the meantime, Bashbarza returned to the Demon King's palace to celebrate his promotion, but he was surprised when he entered the hall and found no one inside, and when he asked one of the servants, he was told that all the invited guests refused to honor the invitation to come and celebrate his promotion. Then he was shocked when he learned what his father had done to be dismissed from his position, and the servant told him that because of him, the Demon King's army is slowly collapsing as everyone is losing trust in them, and it is very difficult to regain that trust. Bashbarza got angry and said that he finally found a secret technique to defeat the hero, and mastered it. And what really angered him was that everyone was still thinking that things would have been better with Dariel until he lost his temper and caused the place to explode and vowed to take revenge on Dariel for humiliating him all this time. Alancil and Granbarza were having a great time playing with their grandson until Alancil realized that Gran was named after Granbarza and got jealous and suggested that they change his name to Alanbarza. Then Dariel received a call from Rize, and Granbarza realized that he was working for him as a special operations officer. So he took the phone from Dariel and vowed to burn him upon his return for approaching his son and grandson without his knowledge, and Dariel felt that it would be the last call he would receive from Rize. Dariel was relieved to see that Alancil and Granbarza were able to resolve their conflicts peacefully and accept and reconcile with what happened in the past. At night, while Dariel was eating the dessert that Malika had prepared for him in his room, Zebiantes entered the room without realizing it, then pretended to be surprised to learn that he was in love with her because he defended her in front of Alancil. He tried to explain to her that it is not what she thinks, but she left immediately and did not give him a chance and told him that she would think about it. The next day, Dariel marveled at Lady's desire to fight despite everything that had happened, and told her that not all demons are bad and that she should think about stopping fighting against them, but she insisted on fulfilling her duty as a hero by defeating the Demon King, the source of all the troubles in the world. Alancil agreed with her, saying that peace would come to the world once they defeated him, and that he wanted the wisdom and power of the Demon King so that mankind could evolve. When Granbarza asked whether or not the Central Syndicate's beliefs about demons were true, he told him that there was a legend that the Demon King had given all his followers the ability to use magic long ago, and Lady was surprised to learn that the Demon King was still alive, that no one else had taken over, and that he was likely to be immortal. Alancil told her that she had the right to abandon the mission after learning all the facts, but when she realized that the battle would continue whether she completed the mission or not, she decided to continue on her way in order to get her own answers. Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion outside, and when Dariel went out to check it out, he found Fitbaitan and his followers standing in front of the house, exhausted, and told him that the mithril mine was being attacked by a monster, and the guards needed reinforcements, so they all decided to go there. Zebiantes transports them with her powers. They see a huge black dragon burning the entire mine. When they land near it, Dariel is surprised when one of the guards tells him that the diggers are still inside and decides to risk going in to save them while the others take care of the dragon. Dariel is surprised when his father follows him into the mine and tells him that they will be fine without him, and that he wants to fight alongside his son after all these years. Meanwhile, the others start attacking the dragon, but none of their attacks work. So Granbarza tells them that normal magical attacks will not work against a magical monster like the dragon Salamandra. On the other side, Dariel and Alancil reach the diggers, but find it difficult to save them while Salamandra is still burning the mine. So they decide to take care of him first and then launch a double attack on him and manage to inflict heavy damage on him. When Salamandra landed on the ground, Dariel almost attacked him, but when he tried to tame him, he flew away and the others felt they had defeated the magical dragon, and while Lady felt that he was emitting hatred towards them, Dariel was feeling nostalgic. Granbarza decided to return to the Demon King's castle with the Zebiantes, so Dariel went into the mine to rescue the diggers and help treat the injured. After things stabilized, he felt frustrated that he couldn't protect everything. Then his father told him that he shouldn't handle everything alone, and that he should borrow strength from others around him to stay on top. Their conversation was interrupted by a guard telling them that one of the guild's workers was missing, and Alancil told them that he would take care of the search for him. In the meantime, Granbarza returned to the castle and found his son sitting inside to greet him, and when he saw his form, he realized that he had entered the Chamber of Secrets, but Bashbarza denied this and said that he used everything he taught him in his youth to reach his current strength. Zebiantes asked about the Chamber of Secrets, and he told her that it is a hidden room inside the castle where all kinds of knowledge reached by demons about magic and its types, especially hexagrams, which is the most powerful type of magic known in the world that demons in ancient times refused to use it. Granbarza said that he knew that he was the one who was behind the attack on the mine, as he sensed his power through the dragon Salamandra, and Bashbarza felt angry when he mentioned Dariel's name in front of him and compared them and asked him why he always wastes the power he was born with and uses it misplaced. replaced. He shouted at him and said that he had seen him through the eyes of the dragon fighting alongside useless humans and asked him if he intended to become a friend of humans. Grand Barza realized that the hexagonal magic had begun to take over his son's mind and body and told him that he did not deserve to be one of the 4 generals. Bash Barza summoned the dragon Salamandra and told him that he intended to get rid of the former hero and the current hero at once, and then he would achieve an unprecedented feat. Then he jumped on the dragon's back and flew away. In the meantime, Dariel was inside the cave with the diggers, and soon they felt a violent vibration. Then suddenly a large rock containing the features of a face appeared before them inside the walls of the mine, and when that face asked for Dariel, he denied his identity and almost ran away, but that unknown person locked him inside the mine, and Dariel had no choice but to confess that he was the man he was asking about. The monster wondered if Dariel was cowardly or brave, then told him that a large part of his body had been destroyed by the dragon Salamandra, and Dariel apologized if he had caused him trouble unintentionally. Then the stone monster told him that Salamandra reflects the wave of anger inside someone, and asked him to bring a piece of his body, the mithril, and when he saw Dariel's weapon, he admired its shape and strength, and decided to give him a reward, which was to free the mithril structure in his weapon from some restrictions. When Dariel asked him who he was, he told him that he was called Gigantomachia, the magical earth monster. Before he left, he warned Dariel that the village of Lux would soon become a battlefield. After his departure, he received a call from Grand Barza to tell him that the dragon that attacked the mine was being controlled by his son. Dariel realized why he was feeling nostalgic when he got close enough to the dragon. Grand Barza warned him that he intended to use the 4 legendary monsters to destroy the heroes in the village, while Bash Barza was on his way to the island, vowing to burn it to the ground. After that, he returned to the village and asked Evnil to help him evacuate it. Before Malika left, she gave him their wedding ring and told him that she would always be with him. After some time, Dariel and his fellow fighters prepared to face Bash Barza's evil after the village had been cleared of all the inhabitants. When Bash Barza arrived, he used his father's technique and created a huge flame ball above him so that he could see Dariel's face in the darkness. Dariel tried to talk to him and avoid fighting, and then Bash Barza noticed the wedding ring on his finger and congratulated him on getting married at the perfect time. Then he asked him if he had tripped after becoming an adult, as he believes that tripping an adult is more painful than a child, as the child finds someone to take care of him and heal his wounds, while no one cares if an adult stumbles in his path. Then he told him that he intended to kill his wife and then burn his village to the ground. Then he remembered Grand Barza's request to help his son in his time of need and realized that he had no choice but to use force to stop Bash Barza, and vowed that he would stop him. When Bash Barza wanted to go to the village and burn it down, he turned his weapon into a whip and tied up Salamandra, and was surprised that he was able to pull him down thanks to the power of Zebiontes. Dariel decided to kick Bash Barza's ass while the others took care of Salamandra. He told him that his magic wouldn't wear off even if he deliberately kept him away from the monster. Dariel then suggested that they have a formal negotiation about the mine, if that's why he was upset with him, and he realized that he was the one who had taken over the mine. Dariel was surprised that he didn't know about it, so he asked him why he was upset with him, and he replied that he wanted to stop the war between humans and demons, and that he deliberately attacked the mithril mine to lure him to fix his own mistakes by getting rid of him. Then he began to implement his plan and become the most powerful Flamestorm general after causing his father's death. Then he began to launch successive attacks on Dariel without giving him the opportunity and time to block any of them. Feeling that he is in trouble because Bash Barza has become stronger than before in addition to his talent, he told him that he broke into the Chamber of Secrets and obtained the Book of Hexagrams, then traveled around the world and forced Salamandra to submit to him. Dariel expressed his admiration for his strength, ambition, and talent, and then Bash Barza felt angry that he praised him while he wanted to eliminate him, so he used his technique to attack him. But he was soon stunned when Dariel responded with a counterattack using his father's technique, and when he thought he might have died from his attack, he was shocked after seeing him transform into his super form, and Bash Barza decided to use his trump card and use all his magical power to overcome him. On the other side, the others were still fighting Salamandra. Alansil decided to come out of retirement and fight alongside his supposed archenemy to defeat an entity stronger than them. He got close enough to Salamandra to strike him down, while Grand Barza used the flame technique to immobilize him, and then Bash Barza lunged at Dariel and began hurling flames at him, calling him a loser who was unqualified to use magic, and expressing his displeasure at the idea that the smile never leaves his face no matter what, and then decided to use the endless fireball of flames, at which point Dariel used the power of his sword and put his entire aura into it. Meanwhile, the others, led by Grand Barza and Alansil, managed to finish off Salamandra, and then noticed that the fight between Bash Barza and Dariel became more heated, and Dariel launched a crushing attack over his head, but he soon found that this stimulated his magic power even more, and transformed transformed into a form closer to a magical beast. Then Bashbarza rushed towards him and started attacking him with all his strength and anger, and Dariel remembered when Bashbarza was a small child, fascinated by people's love for his father, and aspiring to become a general like him one day. Then he was surprised when he saw Bashbarza's memories through his magic, and saw that he still remembered his first meeting with him when his father introduced him to him and asked him to rely on him as an older brother, which made him feel sad because he sat for a long time waiting for his father to return home while Dariel spent all this time with him. After his mother refused to allow him to serve in the Demon King's army and decided to enroll in the Magic Academy instead, he studied and worked hard in the academy until he became the first in his class and thought that he had become as powerful as his father after the academy recommended him to be one of the 4 generals, but he was rejected by his mother again. What made him sad was when he saw that Dariel had taken his place and joined the Demon King's army and became his father's assistant, which made him suspect that maybe it was wrong for him to want to work alongside his father, which is why he took the right opportunity to take revenge and kick him out of the army. Dariel realized that he had lived alone all his life and blamed himself for never realizing it, and thought about doing something to comfort him, but it didn't ease Bashbarza's anger towards him, and Dariel realized that he could read his mind. He rushed towards him and told him that his father had always worried about him and cared about him, and Bashbarza was surprised to learn that he was the son of the former hero Alansil, and also told him that he had always felt troubled in himself because he did not belong to any family after. Bashbarza took him and raised him, in addition to not knowing how to use magic like the rest of the people around him. All he could do was smile until the day they met, and then he thought that he had become valuable and would be able to help Bashbarza raise his son, and he felt for the first time that he belonged to a family. Bashbarza was shocked to see his memories from his point of view. Then Dariel approached him and promised to always be by his side and help him feel safe, and soon Bashbarza's powers began to disappear little by little as the hatred and anger inside him faded. Dariel sat down in front of him and held out his hand to him and told him that it was not too late. Bashbarza almost grabbed his hand, but the hexagonal magic was back in his head, and it became clear that Salamandra was using up his magical power to be able to fight again. When Bashbarza sees Bashbarza coming, he realizes that he's going to melt his body into him so that he can control him for a while, but his life will be in danger once Salamandra regains control of himself. Bashbarza took the dragon and flew away from everyone to protect them from its overwhelming attack, after deciding to pay for his choices and decisions himself, and was happy to have a brief moment to chat with Dariel after all these years. And then he was surprised by his father pushing him away to separate his body from the dragon's body by using the magic of the hexagon like him. And then Dariel took the opportunity to finish Salamandra in one blow, and when he faded from existence, Bashbarza embraced his son, and Bashbarza felt regret. With the sunrise of a new day, Dariel and his companions returned to where the rest of the villagers were after their victory, while Bashbarza went to meet the Demon King, who was upset about his behavior and causing chaos around him for no good reason. Bashbarza told him that he had no excuse and was ready to accept any punishment imposed on him, so he created a magical aura underneath him, and when he looked into it, he found all the former members of the 4 generals who committed the crimes suffering at the bottom of hell, and asked him if he was ready to meet the same fate. He then gave him the choice between spending eternity in hell and suffering, or starting over as one of the 4 generals, and told him that his choice was based on the fact that he was still young and remorseful for his actions. But he was surprised that Bashbarza chose to go to hell because he believes that what he did is unforgivable and nothing will change no matter how much he tries to escape from his crimes. The Demon King found the order to send him to hell very boring, and he did not object to it, so he decided to expel him as he had done with Dariel, and Bashbarza accepted the order with great joy, although he felt sad. Then his father took him and they went to the village of Lux, specifically Dariel's house, and while everyone welcomed him, Lady did not forgive him for the amount of damage he caused to the mine, so he apologized to everyone for his actions. And then Gran woke up in Dariel's lap, and as soon as he saw Bashbarza, he wanted to play with him. When Bashbarza held him for the first time, Dariel told his son that Bashbarza would be his big brother from now on. Then, to everyone's surprise, Gran gained the ability to speak, and the first thing he said was Bashbarza's name. He felt what Dariel had in mind when they first met, so he decided to start over and atone for his mistakes by taking care of little Gran. Dariel asked Kushida to paint a commemorative portrait of them all and call it the love portrait, and Bashbarza felt how wonderful it would be to have an older brother. The next day he decided to leave to start making amends to those he had hurt and continue his world travels. Dariel and Malika bid him farewell and gave him enough food for his journey.